Greetings duelists and welcome to another video. So as you guys already know, the deck that I'm trying to pilot this season is Rescue Ace. Um, I've been doing a little bit of tinkering with the deck, trying to figure out like what works for me personally, as term as ratios go, and trying to figure out like what is the most optimal way of playing it, despite its few weaknesses. Um, I played at locals today. It was 5 rounds of Swiss. I ended X2. Um, my two losses were. I guess I should talk about my 5 rounds. I played against uh, Labyrinth, Unchained. It was Unchained Labyrinth and then Pure Unchained. Then I faced Mikanko. I faced Branded, and I faced um trying to remember the fifth deck. I think it was Flowanderies. But yeah, um 5 decks in total. Um I ended X2. My two losses were to Mikanko and Unchained. Um Against the Unchained player, Charles to Glenn. Um I Nibiru'd him in part of his combo. Uh, and then when I tried to do the crackback, he Nibiru'd me back. Um, and then it pretty much got into a small grind game, and he just out resourced me. Against Mikanko, what happened was I made a misplay involving like one of his equip spells. And game two, I made him go first because I know that Mikanko is pretty much a very powerful going second deck, and he pretty much drew the best hand like Mikanko players can draw if they go first. And I tried to play around all the cards, but I just couldn't. Um, some people just have their day, and today was not mine. Um, But yeah, I still want to showcase the list. There's still some issues that I found with it. I did brick like once or twice with the deck, um, and it's pretty much like a natural weakness that rescuers have. Like, you do have to play a few engine requirements in this deck. That really bolsters the strategy, but those engine requirements can be bricks if you don't draw any of your starters. Sadly, that's how the deck functions, and like as I am trying to make to like tinker around with that weakness that the deck has, um, the game just will fight against the probabilities, and it will give you those brick hands even if you don't want them, um, which is really really unfortunate. Um, but it is part of the game. Um, but I'll go over to the list. I'll talk about the ratios and like the theory that I have behind everything, and probably one or two changes that I will make. Uh, but without further ado, let's begin. Um, Triple hydrant, triple airlifter, triple impulse, um, double preventer, double fire engine, fire attacker, turbulence. That's it for the rescue monsters. Miscellaneous monsters, 3 Fenrir's. Um, there is one engine that I'm playing in this deck. The shoutouts to Fabs. I'll post his channel in the description. This was pretty much from his channel. But I'm playing Xiamen, Deer Note, and Foxy Tune, as well as one Ogre, Ghost Ogre, and one Therion King. Um, that's it for monsters. I think that's 23. For spells, or spell and traps, triple emergency, rescue, alert, headquarters, um, contain, extinguish. This is what I meant by the engine requirements. Like, um, I'll talk more about that in a moment. I'm still playing the museum package, 3 museum and 3 Durandal. Um, 3 teleport because I am playing the Punk engine. 3 talents since I'm not meaning hand traps. 2 thrusts, Rhoda, terraforming, small world, and Raysoth. 50 in the main. Um, Nankaribo, IP, Dark, Sunlight, Phoenix, Heat Soul, Unicorn, Access Code, Goddess, Arclight, Baron, Gem Dragon, Punisher, Sargas, and Zeus. I guess we'll talk the ratios now. So I really like the Punk engine. It kind of ups the ceiling of the deck a little bit, and it also gives you access to Therion King. And Therion King is really cool in this deck because the way the the cards are ruled, um, the rescue spell and traps can be activated if you have a hydrant equipped to Regulus, because the game recognizes that you actually do control the hydrant, even if it's not a monster. Um, so that was really cool interaction. Another interaction, I guess, is the Punk engine. Also, besides giving you access to Regulus through Sargas, it can also access you to Herald of Arclight, which is pretty cool. If you open Fenrir, you can access to Baron. If you go second and you want to break boards, you can summon the Punisher. And the Punisher is really strong in this deck. It's really cool in this version because I am playing Museum and I'm playing Heat Soul. So you do have a couple of ways of losing life points, meaning that the Punisher is just as effective in this version. Um, Not really much to talk about that. Like, I think these links are kind of staple-ish in this deck. Um, like, Dark is a weird one. I've been playing this over Hita. Um, Ironically enough, I kind of missed Hita against the Unchained matchup, just taking their Shavaros. But outside of that, I've been liking Dark even more. I did like take the opponents like the Unchained Soul, the Link 2, the Yama. I took one of them with this, so that was very helpful against me against him. Um, I still really like IP. I'm a big fan of IP still this in this deck, and yeah, that's kind of it for like the ratios in the extra deck. So going back to punks, The Dragon Drive access you to Ghost Ogre, which I still am a very big fan of in this deck. I think this card is very very underrated right now. Um, and the fact that you have a searchable engine that can search for it, that can add it to your hand, is really, really cool. Um, I cut down the Kashtira package to just Fenrir. I just felt like the Punk package had a slightly higher ceiling than the Kashtira cards. Even though the Kashtira cards make it so you can play through Shifter better, and if you play against the Kashtira deck itself, it's also very functional. Um, like just having the engine in itself to combat against them. Um, but besides that, I don't think I missed them enough. I'm happy with just Fenrir. It also makes you Baron if you have the Punk cards alongside this, which is really strong. Um, for rescue ratios, um, I think it's kinda standard outside of the second like fire engine. Um, like in the future, I'm contemplating whether or not to cut this card. Um, I did open both of them in 2 games, and needless to say, I bricked with them. Which I really don't get the ratios. Like I'm playing 50 cards, and like I'm drawing 2 out of 2 in my hand, and I'm opening like the spell and traps, like the searchable spell and traps alongside this. The odds are like below 10%, but it is what it is. In the future, I will probably cut one, like I just mentioned. But I wouldn't cut it entirely because it does make Impulse turn into essentially a starter against your opponent, especially if you're playing against Purely. Um, so, like, I'm really, really perplexed by breaking with this card, but I feel like it's still strong enough to warrant at least one copy in the main deck. Um, Preventer, this stays at 2. I don't think I'll need to play something else. Um, as far as the spell trap ratios go, um, I do feel like Talents was not super great for me today. Like I lost against the Mikanko player because I tried to bait his interruptions and he wouldn't crack. Like he just let me resolve all my cards, and his only one interaction for my board was the trap card, the Mikanko Promise, and that won him the game because I needed him to interact with his monsters and not with his trap cards. Because I did open talents. Um, so that was kind of unfortunate. In the future, I don't know if I will play these cards, but however, if I don't play these cards, I need to play other defensive cards, and if I'm not playing hand traps or good efficient board breakers, it's very very easy to lose in this format because some decks are just way too strong for you to break with just your engine. Um, I am still skeptical whether or not I should play hand traps or not because uh, historically, every time I do play hand traps, my opponent randomly just has talents in their hand. Um, so we'll wait and see. I'm still debating whether or not I should make this change or not. Right now, this is 100% a cut. Um, I think everything worked fine. These two cards just make me to lose the draw, but it is what it is. It is the same thing as the Inferno cards. Um, in my 5 rounds, I did not draw this once. Uh, Funnily enough, I drew Z Amen twice, and I opened or drew the Deer Note once, and I opened slash drew into Foxy Tune twice. Um, so I still don't know how good this is. Um, the Punk engine did win me one game against Labyrinth that I probably would not have won if I didn't have it. Um, so at least I can say that much. I'm still a fan of the Noble Arm package. I still think that if you're playing extenders in your deck, this is really, really good. This is really, really strong. This gets you to Airlifter, and this gets you to like the. This gets you to Impulse, which actually like bolsters your strategy if you go first. Um, I'm still a huge fan of this. I think until like Age of Overlord comes out, and the Snake Eye slash the Bellstar package arrives, I think I'll still play these. Uh, they're just too good not to be played. At least to my experience. Um, that's kind of it. Like, sadly, you cannot cut these cards. They're just engine requirements. But I really just don't wish to ever see these cards in my hand, even though I do open with them a lot. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the deck at the moment. Um, Historically, something that I usually do is if a deck doesn't do well for me at more than 2 events, I just play another deck. I move on to another strategy. It's not because the deck is bad by any means. It's just that my experiences with it are not as good as you could make them out to be. Um, but yeah, uh, that's it from me. I hope you found this very entertaining to some degree. Um, like, expect other videos coming soon. Keep practicing and keep doing.